Hey guys, yeah, this is another inbox review. Although I posted one up the other day, 2 days ago, it was actually one I'd done about 3 weeks ago. So basically, it's been in the actuality about 3 weeks since I last did an inbox review. It's just been manic at work, obviously with Christmas and that. So got a bit of time on my hands. I'm still literally in my work gear, believe it or not, because I've not long come home from work. So I thought, right, we're going to do another inbox review, but this is another iconic aircraft. It actually changed the way we did air travel back in the early 70s, because since then they just had the old turbofans from the early generation of jetliners, such as the 707, the Comet, the 727, the 737, etc. And this one basically transformed the way we travel. And I think the last one was due to be delivered soon, but another order has actually gone in, so it might be another year before the last is actually leaving the Everett factory. And obviously by mentioning Everett, you got a full idea of this one. So I'm going to turn the camera around and you'll see. So I'm just going to move it down a little bit and let's have a little look and see what we're going to review. So there she is. This is the iconic Boeing 747. This is the original version of the Jumbo. It basically was concepted from a design from a military contract for a transport back in 1966 for the US Air Force. And then later on it went on to become the C5 Galaxy. They actually then decided that they needed a new airliner with high bypass turbofans as opposed to the old turbojets from the 707, etc. And basically it had a greater capacity for passengers and obviously a better range for travelling worldwide. So hence came the design for the 747 Jumbo, and the first one actually flew on the 9th of January 1969, and the first deliveries were about a year later with the first transatlantic flight to Heathrow. I think it was around about February 1970. And then obviously BOAC put in an order which soon later on became merged with BEA and became British Airways as we know it now. They actually took delivery of their first one around about February 1970, but didn't actually go into operation until around about 1971, mainly due to air disputes, etc. And I think they had a few teething problems with the aircraft, so yeah, it was a bit delayed with BOAC. And obviously it became a worldwide success for the later ones of the 200, and then obviously the 300, which wasn't so successful. And then around about the early 80s or late 80s, you got the Dash 400, which we all know and well, which were all recently retired last year. Sadly, because they were going to have another 3 years service on them before they were retired, but obviously with the pandemic that brought it on. It was far more efficient for the Super Twins to be employed in the airline, so it was the end of the poor old 747. So needless to say, a lot of the airlines worldwide have retired them, or they've been converted into cargo aircraft. Although there are still a few 400 pure cargo aircraft, and obviously you got the new 747-8, which was not as much a success passenger wise. So even British Airways cancelled the order because I think they possibly took delivery of one Dash 8 but then sent it back because they decided upon bringing in the new Super Twins, as it were, such as the A350, the 787 and the 777 extended version, the 300, which is far more economical. So the day of the Jumbo, after 50 years, had come to an end as regards to passenger aircraft. Although I did find out recently that a Saudi Air Force still fly one. The original 100. So there you go. Just shows you the length and sturdiness of the aircraft itself. This particular kit was actually issued about 2 years ago by Revell, basically to mark the 50th anniversary of the Jumbo's first flight. I've actually got 2 of these in my, or is it 2 or 3 of these in my stash? I think one I'm going to do as a Pan Am aircraft, and the other one's going to be the BOAC aircraft, but I am thinking they're getting a third. And I'll tell you the reason why later on. I actually got this for my brother last year for his Christmas present as well. It's quite a big box, as you can see, because obviously the Jumbo's quite a large aircraft. Mind you, not as big as the A380 in comparison, but as I say, this is the original 100, which first saw service circa 1970. So without further ado, what we'll do is get on with the inbox review. And as I say, this kit is still just about available. The kit number is 05686. Okay, that's 05686. You've got the illustration of the actual prototype on the box, and obviously you've got some paints included, a brush, and obviously a pot of glue. So it's like a starter set, basically. Mind you, what a big starter. And then obviously on the back of on the side of the box, you've got an illustration of some of the sprues. It's a level 4 kit, and there's some of the products that Revell also produce. That's your colour guide there on the side of the box. There's some warning and attention, and obviously various languages. On the other side, you got some photographs of the assembled kit itself, which does look rather nice. So there you go. And there's obviously a little history about the aircraft itself on the side of the box. It's a top open ending box. And again, you've got one bag of sprues inside. Whoops. One of them's loose, unfortunately, because I did have a crafty look at this, I think, earlier on. And as always, what I'll first do is get the instruction sheet out. I'm just going to put the box down on the side here. And as you can see, it's their new pamphlet design. And then obviously you've got at the front, you've got the full illustration of the assembled kit, which does look mighty impressive, in the logo of the prototype, which apparently is still in existence, and it's at the Seattle Museum. So there you go, she's still around. And it does look a lovely distinctive markings. And then obviously down the side here you've got all the airlines that had initially signed up to buy the Jumbo. So there you go. Right, we'll open up if we can. Obviously you've got little tips on how to assemble the kit, and then obviously all the various warnings in all different languages, and all the emblems and logos, etc. And then on the next page you've got your sprue trees, as you can see there. So you need to check that every part in the kit is as is. And then obviously the first stage is basically some of the actual internal workings of the actual cargo wheel hubs, which you can see there, the nose and the main landing gear bays, which go in first. Okay, and then it's giving you a little tip here. I don't know what this means. Basically to cut out that part. I suppose that's just for if you're going to put it on the stand, which you can see here. It's neither have it in flight mode or obviously with the undercarriage down. I'm more than likely going to have it with the undercarriage down, so I won't need to cut that out. And then obviously the next procedure is to weight the aircraft in the nose, because obviously if you don't, it's going to be a tail sitter. Okay, and they're asking you to drill a little hole at the back. So there you go. And then obviously the assembly of the fuselage halves go together. So obviously you haven't got the internal detail. Then the assembly of the tail planes, that goes onto the fuselage as is. And then obviously the main wing assembly again on the left and the right, which go onto the fuselage, as you can see here. And then you got the JT9 Pratt & Whitney engines to be assembled, and there are a little bit of internal working, so I don't know if you've got the option of cutting it open as though it's being maintained. But that's something you could do. And then obviously you've got the main engine covers which go onto the JT9D engine. And then it's the fitment of the engines to the wings. As you can see, it's the same thing again, with all the sub-assemblies and where they're positioned. And again, it's basically whether you want to have it in flight mode or not. And obviously you've got the assembly of the main front nose gear, and then obviously you've got the landing gear, the nose gear date. Getting tongue tied now. Nose gear date. Nose gear. God, I am getting tongue tied tonight. Nose gear bay doors, that's it. Third time lucky. And then obviously you've got your main undercarriage which goes in, and then obviously it's got the paint and assembly of the main wheels, and then you've got your main undercarriage which is assembled, the middle bogie, and then obviously you've got the outer bogies with some of the actual hydraulic system which goes in, and then the outer bogies which go on along with the gear bay doors. Okay, right, now, and again, same process again, and where they're positioned, and obviously with the gear bay doors, again and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And obviously if you want it in flight mode, that's where the gear bay doors go. Okay. After that, again, if you want it in flight mode, it's just showing you the position of where the doors go onto the undercarriage bay, and then the fitment of the RTF aerials, which go on the end of the wings, and then the fitment of the main canopy. Okay. And then lastly is the fitment of the stand if you want it in flight mode. So there you go. So that is basically your jumbo build. And then obviously you've got one colour call out on this particular kit, which is the actual prototype itself, with that distinctive red line on the tail and across the fuselage. Okay, and obviously it's got reference to all the Revell colours, but I myself will go on the colour app and probably do a little bit of research. Again, you've got the overhead view of the colour call outs as well as where the actual decals go, and that is basically your kit built. So there you go. Right, as I say, the actual kit itself all comes in one big bag, as you can see here. Okay, and I should go through each sprue individually. First off, we got the tail planes. Again, there's some nice recessed panel line detail, although the plastic's a little shiny. There is a tiny hint of flash which you can easily sand down. And there you have it. The only thing that I do, and I'm not happy with, is that the fact you've got the Revell logo on the tailplane, which is not good. So the only thing I would suggest, you can either scrape it off with a knife or sand it down very, very delicately with a thinny stick. So yeah, that's a bit of a misdemeanor on that account. Okay, and then the next thing is you got the main stand plinth, you got the JT9D engines on the interiors. Not much detail to it, to be honest with you guys. Maybe if you do a bit of research, you could possibly put some little wires in there just to sort of boost it up a little bit. Again, it's all in white moulded plastic. There is a little bit of panel line detail there. Again, little bit of flash because I've got a feeling these are old moulds. There's your undercarriage bay units, the undercarriage bay for the main central column. There's some nice detail there. Again, maybe if you do your research, possibly put some little wires in there just to boost it up. And again, there's your undercarriage assemblies, a little bit of flash here and there. And then obviously you've got your main wheels. Okay, as you can see there for the main undercarriage unit. Okay, so that's that, and then obviously you've got the next one is the actual wing assemblies. Again, there's a heck of a lot of flash on there, which you're going to have to sand off. So, I think old sander's going to get a workout on this kit, I can tell you. Again, the undercarriage bay itself, there is a nice little bit of level of detail in there. Panel lines, not bad. So it is what it is, guys. It's not perfect. The plastic's a bit shiny and a bit tinny, I must admit. But again, these could be old moulds redistributed. And then obviously you've got the outer engine covers there, which you can see. If I can see if I can get them round any closer. Again, panel line detail's not bad, but the flash, oh my lord. You can have the old sander. He's certainly going to be doing some overtime on this kit. And then obviously you got some bits and bobs there, some lumps and bumps. You got the undercarriage bay doors. Again, there's a little bit of flash on there, which is a bit disappointing. But hey, it is what it is. And then obviously you've got the underwing units. Or is it at the top? No. And then you've got the other wings and other tailplanes. And the rudder. Oh no, that's the main part of the stand there. Again, there's a lot of flash on here, guys. Oof. And then you've got your other tailplane there. Again, the panel line detail, not bad. And again, with the other wings, you've got the upper and the lower wing. Again, you're going to have a lot of flash there. You're going to have to sand off, guys. And then the next, well, one of two halves I'm going to show you is the actual fuselage itself. Now, it's interesting to know that on this, as opposed to the recessed panel lines, you've got raised panel lines. So it might be a case you're going to have to get the sander out and rescribe. Deep joy. But then you've got that lovely distinctive hump of the 747. It's just got the 3 windows of the original 100. Again, unfortunately, where you got the access for the actual glass which goes in, you got a hell of a lot of flash on there. And even on the fuselage, look at that. That is terrible. I must admit, I got the feeling that Revell sort of got these old moulds out, didn't care a hoot, and just sent them out in the rush for the anniversary. Let's have a look at the tail unit. Hang on. And there you go. Again, nice recessed panel line detail. And it's surprising that on the actual fuselage itself, it's all raised. So I might have a little look at some close photographs of the actual prototype and see if this is the case. If not, it might be a case of getting the scriber out. So there you go. I think, to be honest with you, you're going to have me work cut out with this build. And then on the back, you got the nice rivet detail for where the APU unit is. So yeah, it's going to be a big old beast. I mean, you can see the length of it compared to my arm. You know, I mean, she is a big aircraft after all. So that's the main parts of the kit. I'm going to put them back in the bag. But as I say, it's going to be a bit like the old Vulcan. You're going to have to... she's going to be a bit of a sanding queen, I think. Yeah, anyway. Which is a bit of a disappointment. Oh, hang on. I forgot to show you one thing on this sprue with the old engines. You've got your blades right there. But again, I've got some aftermarket which may look a bit better. I'm just going to pop that all back in the bag. Yeah, it's a bit disappointing with the amount of flash on this, but there you go. As I say, it is what it is. Right. And then obviously, last but not least, with the actual kit itself, you've got the actual decal sheet, which I must admit, register looks very good. A bit shiny on the old decals, but to be honest, I don't think they're going to be anything of a problem to bed down. And I do apologise for my housemates slamming the doors. And again, you've got the distinctive logo of the 747 from Boeing, and then the list of all the airlines that has actually made orders for the initial 100 aircraft, as you can see there. And then obviously you've got the door insignias, you've got the windows, so, and then some of that which goes on the actual wings. And obviously, because this hasn't got a cockpit, it's going to be just handy to have that decal over the window, to be honest with you. So yeah, that is the actual kit, and there's a little bit of wing detail there as well. So yeah. However, I'm not going to build this as the prototype. I don't know if you remember, there was an aircraft that was downed in 1988 over Lockerbie. Well, I've decided that I'm going to build this kit as my first new project after the Wessex. As a tribute to the flight that was lost over Lockerbie in 1988. So I looked out to see if there was any decal sheets for the Pan Am Jumbo, and lo and behold, 26 decals actually had it. So I'm going to build it as Clipper of the Ocean of the Seas, which mean I'm going to have to do a bit of surgery with the letters, but I can also do a bit of surgery with the registration as well, because I've got plenty of reference photos to the actual aircraft before it was downed. So this is going to be a tribute to those people who were lost not only in the air, but also in Lockerbie itself. I thought it would be a very fitting colour scheme and a fitting aircraft to build. However, I do have another Jumbo 100 in the stash. And I actually managed to look on the same company's website, and they had the original BOAC scheme. So my second Jumbo at a future date is going to be this one. I just love that very smart, distinctive scheme, and I just think it really shows off the graceful lines of the actual Queen of the Skies. So there you go. And also, as an extra, if I can find it, where did I put it? I'll just put it down. Yeah, it was behind that. I managed to get hold of the Airwave set, so I'm going to be using those for the engine blades, and obviously got the interior detail for the actual internal workings of the actual wheel hub base. So that's actually designed originally for the Airfix kit, but I thought to myself, do you know what? I really need to sort of ramp this kit up, so I'm going to use those. Okay. And there's one more thing you do actually get with the actual kit itself, is this lovely poster of the prototype itself, which I could easily iron down and get a nice frame for, and I hang it up on my man cave as and when I move in the future and I can resume the hobby. So there you go. I'm just going to put everything back as it was, but as I say, these kits are still just about available for the original 100, but as I say, when you look at the sprues, oh boy, you're going to certainly have a lot of sanding to do as regards all the flash. So it is a bit of a shocker, I must admit, and I've got a feeling they just basically moulded it and rushed it out, because obviously it was coming up to the anniversary of the first flight. But all the same, it's one worth handy having in your stash. Oops. I'm just going to get the box lid. And it's a welcome addition to any airliner stash, in anybody's stash, to be honest with you. So there you go. That's the inbox review of Revell's 747 50th anniversary 100 Jumbo, the Queen of the Skies. But before I go, I actually was looking through a photo album the other day, and I've actually used to go aircraft spotting around about the sort of late 80s, early 90s, and believe it or not, I've actually got some old shots of the old 747, and this was one of them, taken from the old Queen's building of a 200, being towed to, I think, the old Terminal 4. So yeah, came out really well. That was with my old Minolta camera, and I had a little telephoto lens on it then. But the skyline there has certainly changed since those days. So that was that one. And then I caught another one later on in the day of one taking off. So there you go. And there's the old Terminal 4 in the background, which is now used as a cargo hub, believe it or not. And then obviously the old classic Pan Am, which was done in the old banner logo, and this was taken, I think, just about a year before they actually went bust. But again, that's another distinctive scheme you could actually do your Jumbo in. And then obviously we had another 200 being towed across to the terminal in the South African Airways scheme, which you can see there from the old Queen's building. And you see those line up of the back of the tails of the old 757s. It shows you how long ago that was made. Hey! And then this one, oh, this one's a beauty. Again, that's a 200 cargo version of the El Al aircraft. That's certainly changed since those days. And as you can see on the back here, you got the old RDF aerials and the old JT9D engines. And again, this one is another 200. The old Pakistan International Airways. And I've got a classic shot of another Japan Airlines. Now that is a nice colour scheme to do a jumbo in. In fact, my dad actually, I think, built one many, many years ago in a Japan Airways scheme, and I do actually distinctly remember that. Then there was TWA, which sadly about a year after Pan Am went bust as well. That's a nice colour scheme to do your jumbo in. And this is my favourite, the old Air India scheme. Now that is one I'm thinking of possibly getting another 100 and doing an air colour scheme in, the old Air India scheme. I always loved this scheme. So there you go. So that's it. A little bit of reminiscing there from days of old. And that was when the old Queen's building was there. And sadly that was closed down after the attacks on the World Trade Center, never to be reopened again. The only viewing point you got now, I think, is just across the road from the car park, and unfortunately the trees are blocking that now. Although I think in the new terminal, is it 3? I'm not sure, which they've built on the site of the old Queen's building, there is a little viewing area there, although it's not that big, so you can still see the aircraft coming in. But hey, there you go. Anyway, I'm not going to waffle on anymore, because I'm now going to finish this inbox review. It's going on for about 27 minutes, so until the next time, stay safe, keep well, happy modelling, and I'll speak to you again soon. Cheers.